Hello and welcome to the Holland Homestead. Today what I'm going to be showing you and talking about is how to care for your bramble fruits a little bit later in the season. Right now it's the end of July here in northwestern Illinois, and not all of my plants are at the same stage. Some of my plants have these large floricanes because they were transplanted here as large plants. This may also need to be done later in the fall when they're, because some of you have fall fruiting plants, and I know some of my plants might be fall fruiting plants. Don't remember all of what I got right now. So we're going to go over how to take care of your floricanes and your primocanes on a trellis going into next year for proper care, and I'll show you how to tell the difference between primocanes and floricanes. So with this job, there's a couple of tools that you're going to want to have handy. I have a roll of sisal twine that I will be using to tie up the primocanes, and I have my secateurs, these hand pruners, to cut down my old floricanes that are done fruiting. And if you have thorned varieties, some gloves are probably a good idea. Even if you are more sensitive to the pain that a thornless or a less thorn variety may have, gloves are still probably a good idea, but it's entirely up to you. So we have these blackberry floricanes and primocanes growing here. I've got two different clumps. So let me bring it in here and show you the difference between the canes. Alright, now we're down here at the base of one of those black raspberry plants that we transplanted earlier this year. And straight off the bat, you can see that there are two different colors of canes, and they have a little bit of different structure. So this light white greenish cane that there's multiples coming off are your primo canes. Those are canes that have come up just this year, and they are what is going to produce next year's fruit. So don't cut down your primo canes. Now there are other varieties of blackberries and raspberries that do fruit on primo canes in the first year, so that's something to consider. Most of what you want to think about though is these floricanes during this time of year. So they've already flowered, they've already produced a little bit of fruit, and they're done for this year. So they're not going to do anything else for the rest of their lives besides die. So we're going to speed that up along a little bit by taking out these floricanes, excuse me. You can see that they are much darker in color. They're a bit more woody, and they're the ones that you would have noticed flowers on this past year. So remember, primocanes are first year growth, may produce fruit this year, well, should certainly produce fruit next year. Floricanes are what produced your fruit this year, and these floricanes, once they're done, are what we're going to be cutting down. Okay, so now that we've identified what our primocanes and our floricanes are, we're going to start removing the floricanes from the plant. So we tied these on here with sisal when we put them in, and moving forward through the years, this is how they will be tied in. And so this is going to be similar on a different kind of scale in the future years. So we can go ahead and cut where we're tied with sisal, or it'll just come off. So we're going to cut all these. And one more. And there you have it. The floricane is off and ready to be composted. These things have quite the thorns. So we will repeat the process again on this bush, and then we're going to be able to start tying in the primo canes. All right, this is one of our red raspberries that we got from, I think this one we got from M.I. Gardner, and it looks really nice. We started with this bare root floricane here. It's grown very well. Set fruit from the floricane just like they're supposed to. So blessed that we got some fruit in our first year with it. And then you can see the primo cane here, light green with whitish growing off to the side. That's what's going to carry next year's fruits. So we're not going to cut this one down yet, since we're still fruiting and have fruits on it in some different locations, and a couple of the plants are actually setting more flowers still from other floricanes. But we will cut this down later when it is ready to go, but it's still time to tie up that primo cane, so we will go ahead and do that at this time as well. Okay, so this is one of our boysenberry plants. It doesn't have quite as nice of a mulching setup yet, but that will be worked on. So here is the floricane. Technically it is a floricane from a different plant where it came down and rooted here, so it touched the ground and has created these primo canes. So the primo canes from the boysenberry are pretty long and flimsy right now, so these are definitely not erect varieties, and they will benefit from being tied up. So I would show you what a blackberry looks like, but the only one I have is pretty sad and is still working on growing. We're trying to get some new ones for next year. So these boysenberries are I find them to be quite unique when I compare them to the raspberries, because they don't have really the same growing habit. And we'll see how that changes throughout the years. Okay, so what you want to do when you're ready to tie up your berry plants is you want to, we've cleaned up the bottoms of them from the floricanes. So then you want to find yourself a cane, and ideally we're going to prune out some canes. So you want to end up with 4 to 6 canes per plant. Right now this plant only has 4 canes. And then you want to pick, so to prune the canes, you want to find the best looking ones. So that's going to be a long straight cane like this, which is very tall. It's over 6 foot tall. And this is going to be perfect. It's got a good end point to grow on. It's made it all the way up to our top wire. And so this will probably be one of our main growing points on this plant. And by gosh, does it have some thorns. So that is going to be what we're going to look for. If there is a plant or canes that have damaged tips, this one has a damaged tip where it was ran over by the mower. We're going to go down a little bit of ways, just above where there's healthy leaves again, and prune it off. Just so that this makes sure that we stay and have nice healthy growth. Probably could have even given a little bit more, but that's okay. We'll have plenty of canes to work with. And then this one will go out here. So we're going to work on creating a fan shape. So it's going to be a fan, kind of like a hand. So center point out in a few directions. So then we'll take our sisal that we have, And it's okay that the leaves are facing the wrong way right now. They will correct to face the sun. Speaking of facing the sun, it's quite a hot one out here today. So if you haven't gotten plants yet, I would recommend that you find thornless varieties just to aid in ease of working with them. So I like to first try and do a surgeon's throw for obvious reasons. Get it where I want it. Cinch it down. You can let it be a little loose, but you do want it to go where you've put it and stay where you put it. And then we come back and do a second throw. These are square knots that I'm using. They hold up pretty well, and they're what I know how to do best. There we go. Slides a little bit. That's okay. And I will tie this on at each level to make sure that it's secure. There we go. That's our first cane mostly tied up. Okay, so as I talked to in pruning, we're going to look for ones that have a clear, distinct leader and go with that as our cane. But we get to some plants that don't have clear, distinct leaders for whatever reason. Like these have multiple branches coming off. All of them look pretty healthy, and there isn't a main area coming out of the top. We have a middle strong stem here. There should be another stem coming out this direction essentially, but it doesn't exist for whatever reason, and so if there are some that are diseased, that caused it to die out. Now if you have too many of these, then you're probably not going to want to select that for your plant. Now this plant only has 2 canes, and so I will keep both of these. This plant over here has a couple other options, so you want to maintain some canes, otherwise you won't get any fruit, and that's why we're growing these. So you'll pick one that's long towards the top and growing in the right direction. I'll probably go with this one to be a new leader main cane, and then I'll show you what to do with some of the other ones. So what you want to do is you want to take these back to only being the side branches to only being about 6 to 8 inches in total. So we're going to start chopping away. I know it can be heartbreaking to decrease size of your plant that you watched it grow, but otherwise this will get absolutely out of control and we will not produce as good of fruit as if you pruned it and put more energy into a smaller region of production. Alright, let's see. Looks like one more right here. And there we go. And as you can see, we took all of that crazy growth and reduced it down to an attempt at a 1 leader and a few side branches. So hopefully this will help create stronger growth with this plant. Alright, I'm also going to show you how to do this on a thornless variety of red raspberry because it hurts a lot less. So we're going to take this primo cane and we're going to tie it right here to this wire. So it's pretty simple, same as on the other side. You'll just move it near the wire. And then we'll get in there and start tying. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here today. And I hope you learned about how to identify primo canes versus flora canes, how to prune your primo canes when you're tying them up, how to tie them up, and I hope you realize some of the benefit that this provides to do your brambles on a trellis system. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Hole and Homestead. We appreciate all of you viewers out there. And I hope you can get out there and implement some of this in your own garden. Take care and have a good day, everybody.